pledge allegiance to the
flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Remain seated and we'll have a moment of silence. Thank you. Good morning, everybody. Sorry, we're a little bit cramped in here, but
Yeah, it's a full house.
We have employee recognition this morning. I do not see her, but we have Jenny Brisaffi, who has been with the county for 30 years, and we appreciate, yes, that's awesome. She works for our magistrate judge, Jody Fortner, and we appreciate her service, and we congratulate her, and we'll make sure that we get her certificate to her later. Thank you.
motion through item 1.
I have a motion by Commissioner Hall, approved by Commissioner Herschel, to approve the minutes of the January 22nd, 2020 meeting. Any questions or comments? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Motion through item 2.
I will second that motion.
Motion by Commissioner Hall, seconded by Commissioner Herschel, to recess the Commissioners' meeting open the salary board at 9:05. All in favor?
Aye.
Motion through item 1.
I will second that motion.
Motion by Commissioner Hall to approve the minutes of the January 22nd salary board meeting, seconded by Commissioner Herschel. Questions or comments? All in favor?
Aye. Motion to approve item 2.
I will second that motion.
Motion by Commissioner Hall to create an additional part-time telecommunicator position for a total of 6 positions, effective on February 13, 2020, per the recommendation of Bruce Butler, Director of Public Safety, 911 Coordinator, seconded by Commissioner Herschel. Questions or comments? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Number 3.
Motion to approve 3.
I will second that motion.
I have a motion by Commissioner Hall to eliminate the position of telecommunicator and/or quality assurance officer, part-time, effective on February 13th, 2020, per the recommendation of Bruce Butler, seconded by Commissioner Herschel. Questions or comments? All in favor, say aye.
Aye. Item number 4. Motion to approve 4.
I will second that motion.
Motion by Commissioner Hall to create a position of temporary assistant of elections voter registrar at $11.48 per hour, no benefits, effective February 12th, 2020, per the recommendation of Rebecca Hubbard, Chief Clerk. Seconded by Commissioner Herschel. Questions or comments? Yes, Vera Stacy?
Take Stacy first here.
Is it's a temporary, is there like a length of hours or a length of time assigned to it?
It's temporary, but it'll be 8 hours a day, probably from the last week of March through the first week of May.
And then is this a full-time position?
No, it's a temporary. Well, he just said 8 hours a day, but it's just gonna be for a small.
Full-time temporary position.
So Monday through Friday?
Yes.
And then she might continue after that, or this is just for now? Well, just those 2 months?
Stacy?
And is this just in anticipation of needs with for
Mail-in
mail-in
ballots,
ballots and
yeah.
things like that?
That's correct.
Okay.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Number 5.
Make motion to approve 5.
I will second that motion.
I have a motion by Commissioner Hall to create a full-time, non-union position of IT System Administrator, 40 hours per week, $19.23 per hour, effective January 12th, with a 6-month probationary period and benefits per the county policy manual, per the recommendation of Stephen Janowski. Questions or comments?
Now, IT stands for what?
Technology, it's our IT department. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Number 6.
Motion to approve 6.
I will second that motion.
I have a motion by Commissioner Hall to ratify and approve the collective bargaining agreement between Susquehanna County and the Teamsters Local 229, covering professional employees in the Office of Children and Youth Services, effective January 1st through December 31st, 2024, per the recommendation of the Commissioners. Questions or comments? All in favor? Aye. Any public comment?
Just want to make a statement to it, didn't say it, but items 2, 3, and 4, those are all union positions.
Thank you.
Here's a comment.
Yes, Edna.
Why are these agendas saying February 12th? And then February 12th again?
It is February 12th.
Sorry,
Thank you.
I'm in another
Motion
point.
to adjourn, return to the Commissioner Green.
I'll second that motion.
We got a motion from Commissioner Hall, second by Commissioner Herschel, return to the Commissioners meeting at 9:10.
Where is that? I don't have a second page.
Motion to approve item number 3.
I will second that motion.
No, wait a minute.
Questions or comments? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Motion to approve item number 4.
I will second that motion.
Questions or comments? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Number 5?
Motion to approve number 5.
I will second that.
Motion by Commissioner Hall to ratify and approve the hiring of Eric Berg, Montrose, the open part-time union-eligible position of corrections officer, $14.96 per hour, varied hours, effective January 30th, 2020. Seconded by Commissioner Herschel. Questions or comments? All in favor? Aye.
Aye. Motion to approve item 6.
I will second that motion.
Motion by Commissioner Hall to ratify and accept with regret the resignation of Joseph Igo from the position of full-time corrections officer, effective January 28, 2020, per Warden Mark Shelp. Seconded by Commissioner Herschel. Questions or comments? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Motion to
I
approve
have to
7.
make this correction because I just don't want to, I want to prove that I'm not crazy. Page 2 of the Susquehanna County Commission says February 4th, 2020. Top sheet says 12, second sheet says 20, says 4.
Okay, well, thank you for the correction. Today's the 12th.
Where's the 4 you know? Right there. You can't get it down. I don't have it. No, it's stapled to here. Stapled.
We have a really big
It's
agenda
unbelievable.
here today. All right, where are we? Number 7 or 6? 6, did we take a vote? Okay, aye. Number 7, please.
Motion to approve 7.
I will second that motion.
Number 7, motion by Commissioner Hall to ratify and approve the transfer of Brett Bessanini from the position of part-time corrections officer to the open non-union position of full-time corrections sergeant, shift commander at $18 per hour, effective January 23rd with a 6-month probation period and benefits according to the jail bargaining unit contract and the county policy manual per the recommendation of Warden Mark Shell. Questions or comments? All in favor say aye. Thank you. Number 8.
Motion to approve number 8.
I will second that motion.
Got a motion by Commissioner Hall to ratify and approve the termination of Matthew Toros from the position of full-time corrections officer effective January 28, 2020, for the recommendation of Warden Shell. Second by Commissioner Herschel. Questions or comments? All in favor? Aye.
Motion to approve item 9.
I will second that motion.
Motion by Commissioner Hall to ratify and approve the transfer of Donald Cronk from the position of part-time corrections officer to the open union eligible position of full-time corrections officer at $14.95 per hour, effective January 28th, per the recommendation of Warden Shell. Seconded by Commissioner Herschel. Are there any questions or comments? Yes, Vera.
Are these hourly rates higher than last time? Has something increased?
No, nothing's changed at this moment.
No?
All in favor? Aye. Number 10.
Motion to approve 10.
I will second that motion.
We have a motion by Commissioner Hall to ratify and approve the hiring of Lynn Lyons, Montrose, the open union eligible position of part-time corrections officer at $14.96 per hour, varied hours, effective January 3rd, 2020, with a 6-month probation period and benefits according to the jail bargaining unit contract. Second by Commissioner Herschel. Any questions or comments? Yes, Colleen?
We were just looking, noticing that one is $14.95, one is $14.96. Is there a reason why there's a penny difference in their wages?
Do you have an idea?
Yep, it's on the same line. If they were here before the first of the year, they're
2% increase for this year. So it depends whether you were hired last year or this year, that penny, that's the difference. Okay?
But this is for a transfer. So because he was here before and he's just being transferred,
He gets paid less.
One's a transfer, it's the way the contract reads right now.
and the new one was, yeah, like Stacy said, one gets a penny more for less service, less time in service.
The way the contract reads right now.
All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Number
Item
11. You make one, you do.
Oh, I'd like
Motion
to,
on 11.
I'd like to second that motion.
Motion by Commissioner Hall to ratify and approve the hiring of Jeremy Shiptowski, Susquehanna, to the open union eligible position of part-time corrections officer, $14.96 per hour, varied hours, effective February 3rd, 2020. Recommendation of Warden Shelf, seconded by Commissioner Herschel. Questions or comments? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Number 12.
Motion approved 12.
I'll second that motion.
Motion by Commissioner Hall to ratify and approve the transfer of Cody Whitman from the position of part-time corrections officer to the open union eligible position of full-time corrections officer, $14.95 per hour, effective January 28th, 2020, per the recommendation of Warden Shelf. Seconded by Commissioner Herschel. Do we have any questions or comments?
How many corrections officers do you have total for the jail?
30-something, isn't it 30-something?
I don't know.
We don't know. We have to look it up on
On the thing, and how many people are incarcerated, would you say, approximately?
approximately 56.
50? You got 30 officers for about 50 people?
Well, it's around the clock. There's 3 shifts.
7 days a week.
Yeah.
So it's
They
almost,
don't have weekends off or anything.
oh,
Be nice.
Unless we really lock the doors.
yeah.
Or we can save a pen.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Motion approved number 13.
I will second that motion.
I got a motion by Commissioner Hall to ratify the termination of Robert Hyde from the position of Chief Clerk and Open Records Officer effective January 31st, 2020, per the recommendation of the Commissioners, seconded by Commissioner Herschel. Questions or comments?
You know, I read in the paper that he was given no warning before he was terminated. Is that true? That he was just approached out of the blue and told, you have to leave now, we don't need your services anymore? Is that how the business was done?
It's a personnel issue. We can't talk about that, but it was in the paper. I don't believe everything you read, I guess. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Number 14.
Motion approved 14.
I will second that motion.
I have a motion by Commissioner Hall to ratify and approve the transfer of Rebecca Hibbard from the position of Deputy Chief Clerk to the open full-time non-union position of Chief Clerk, salary of $55,000 with an increase to $60,000 upon successful completion of a 6-month probationary period, minimum 40 hours per week with benefits per the county policy manual and government mandated requirements, effective January 31st, 2020. Seconded by Commissioner Herschel. Questions or comments? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Motion approved 15.
I will second that motion.
I got a motion by Commissioner Hall to assign Gene Conklin as Human Resources Director, acting Deputy Chief Clerk, with the authority to use facsimile signatures for any or all 3 commissioners by ink stamp in lieu of personally made signatures on county checks, as well as attestation ability in lieu of the Chief Clerk, Deputy Chief Clerk's signature on any county documents, provided such authority is given and exercised under the direction of each commissioner, effective on January 31st, 2020, per the county commissioners, seconded by Commissioner Herschel. Questions or comments? All in favor, say aye.
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 Approved 16.
I will second that motion.
Motion by Commissioner Hall to approve the hiring of Anthony Bartok, Montrose, to the open, union-eligible position of full-time juvenile probation officer, $17.50 per hour, effective February 14th, per the recommendation of President Judge Jason Lady. All in favor?
Aye.
Questions and comments on that one?
Motion approved 17.
I will second that motion.
I got a motion from Commissioner Hall to approve the transfer of Mary Rosenkrantz from the eliminated position of telecommunicator and/or quality assurance officer part-time to the position of part-time telecommunicator at a TC2 level at a rate of $16.23, effective January 13th, per the recommendation of Bruce Butler, Director of Public Safety. Seconded by Commissioner Herschel. Questions or comments? All in favor, say aye.
Aye. Motion approved 18.
I will second that motion.
Motion by Commissioner Hall to acknowledge the hiring of Melissa Groves, Montrose, the open union eligible position of full-time second deputy pathonetary clerk of courts, $12.45 per hour, effective February 10th. Second by Commissioner Herschel. Questions or comments? All in favor? Aye.
Motion approved 19.
I'll second that motion.
Motion by Commissioner Hall to accept with regret the resignation of Patrick Morazetskit from the position of full-time corrections officer effective February 20th per Warden Shelf. Second by Commissioner Herschel. Questions or comments? All in favor, say aye.
Aye. Motion approved 20.
I will second that motion.
Motion by Commissioner Hall to approve the transfer of Edward Buchan from the position of part-time corrections officer to the open union eligible position of full-time corrections officer, $14.96 per hour. Seconded by Commissioner Herschel. Questions or comments? All in favor, say aye.
Aye. Motion approved 21.
I will second that motion.
I got a motion by Commissioner Hall to accept with regret the resignation of Jeffrey Oleniak from the position of full-time 911 systems IT technician, telecommunicator, effective February 21st, 2020, per Bruce Button, Director of Public Safety, seconded by Commissioner Herschel. Questions or comments? All in favor, say aye.
Motion approved 22.
I will second that motion.
Motion by Commissioner Hall to accept with regret the resignation of Amberly Warner from the position of Establishment Specialist Court Liaison, effective February 21st, 2020, per Michelle Gerald, Director of Domestic Relations. Seconded by Commissioner Herschel. Questions or comments? All in favor, say aye.
Aye. Motion approved 23.
I will second that motion.
Got a motion by Commissioner Hall to advertise for public bid on municipal for the following vehicles for sale. You can read them. Seconded by Commissioner Herschel. Questions or comments? All in favor, say aye.
Motion approved 24.
I will second that motion.
Motion by Commissioner Hall to enter a purchase service agreement with Kids Peace National Centers for child welfare services. Seconded by Commissioner Herschel. Questions or comments? All in favor, say aye.
Aye. Motion approved 25.
I will second that motion.
Motion by Commissioner Hall to enter a purchase service agreement with PA Child Care LLC and Mid-Atlantic Youth Services out of Pittston, Pennsylvania for child welfare services through July 1st, 2019 through June 30th, 2020, per the recommendation of Michelle Graziano, Director of Children and Youth. Seconded by Commissioner Herschel. Questions or comments? Yeah.
I see that one starts at one time and ends at the other one picks it up. Is there a reason why they're being changed out?
We just have to renew these every year. It's constant. We're always doing this.
But aren't they the same?
Well, they probably run on different cycles with different companies.
Down fiscal years.
There you go.
Well, I'm just wondering if they're both for child care services, if they're both performing the same functions, I guess, maybe is the better question.
Probably not, because children have different needs. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. 26.
Motion approved 26.
I will second that motion.
I got a motion by Commissioner Hall to enter a contract with Tower Services Unlimited for installation services of tower, shelter, and generator at the state game lands at Elk Mountain with Pennsylvania state contract pricing of $388,314 paid with funds from state 911 money per the recommendation of Bruce Butler, Director of Public Safety. Seconded by Commissioner Herschel. Questions or comments?
Is it totally supported, that $388,000 from the state funds?
Yes. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Motion approved 28.
I will second
20,
that
what is
motion. 27.
27.
27, sorry.
I will second that motion to approve number 27.
Motion by Commissioner Hall to enter into a maintenance agreement with Guyot Communication Industries, software upgrades, service packs, and factory support effective January 27, 2020 to January 26, 2021 for a cost of $1,010. We got a second by Commissioner Herschel. Questions or comments? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Number 8.
Motion approved 28.
I will second that motion.
I got a motion by Commissioner Hall to open an award following the review of the solicitor and engineer sealed bids for Susquehanna County Recycling Center pavement replacement. Seconded by Commissioner Herschel. Questions or comments? All in favor, say aye. Thank you all for coming today. We'll open these bids for you. Author Construction out of Binghamton, New York. Both are. I'm sorry. Apologize. Please.
They, no, don't do that, because that covers a lot of things. Yeah, I know. The 10 kids, that's what's it cost.
Bids.
$23,186.50. And item 2 is $13,250.
What was that, 220, 223, what?
223, 186.
50, and then 13,250.
This is from M.R. Dirt, Inc., Towanda, Pennsylvania.
Item 1 is $325,000. Item 2 is $11,500.
For the pavement or for recycling?
Pavement.
Yeah, for that.
This is from Waco Incorporation out of Waymart, Pennsylvania.
Item 1 is $212,128.89. And item 2 is $12,500. These are the those deals over the other one.
This is from Bob Miller Construction out of Nicholson, Pennsylvania.
$254,540 even. Item 2 is $20,000.
Should give him a nice letter.
I just sent that to
Oh,
you.
you did?
You repeated it.
letter openers.
Say this right.
Stravosky.
Stravosky Paving Company out of Archibald, Pennsylvania.
$120,049.38. Item 2 is $9,000.
Big difference, huh? Maybe they can get you a nice letter opener, you know, made
I'm fine.
in
I
silver.
don't have a problem.
Yeah, your fingers are okay?
I don't know.
This is Skillkill Paving Company, Skillkill Haven, PA.
$265,000 even. Item 2 is $22,500.
Yeah.
Glenn O. Hawbaker Incorporation, Millen, PA.
$216,442. Item 2 is $17,000.
This is from Broom Bituminous Products, Gustal, New York.
$168,900. And item 2 is
Yeah.
$13,750.
Yeah.
American Asphalt, Shavertown, PA.
Okay.
Item one, $191,322.50. Item two, $60,000.
Yeah.
Isn't that weird?
Last one.
Kenny Rao Excavating, Montrose, PA.
Item one, $286,350. Item two, $5,000. Okay, we'll go to the solicitor and the engineer for review and award.
Quick question. The bids had both a item one and an item two part. Could you describe a little bit about the project? Go ahead.
Yeah, there's, of course, for that project, there's unknowns. Part two is for additional materials and stuff. Part one is, of course, milling down the entire recycling plant, fixing some grade work, and adding some more base, and then top coating everything. And actually, it grinds it all the way down, takes all the base out, so you put base back in and top coat.
Just to be clear, you guys will take the lowest bid, of course, but this is in review of the solicitor and the engineer because there's such a difference in prices that we're seeing here. I'm assuming that once that gets looked over by the engineer, if it's found that the lowest price is not going to be acceptable, you'll come back to the table with another one?
We'll be announcing at the next meeting who it was awarded to. The solicitor and the engineer will review it to make sure that the qualifications are met, to make sure that everything is in order with the proposals, and then it will go to the lowest responsible bidder.
Yes, Vera.
How big of an area is this? This is the whole plant?
The whole recycling area,
And in front of it also?
yes.
Do you know the dimensions of that whole plant?
I do not.
You have such a disparity in prices, you know, it goes,
Well, that's a good thing.
it's a good thing.
More people bid, the more disparity, the better for us.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you, thanks for coming. Thank you, you're good. All right, we're on number 29 now.
Motion approved 29.
I'll second that motion.
Motion by Commissioner Hall to exonerate Susquehanna County tax collectors from collecting the county 2019 delinquent return, county returns in the amount of $474,086.92 per the recommendation of Treasurer Jason Miller. Seconded by Commissioner Herschel. Are there any questions or comments?
Is that one of the highest amounts that's been exonerated? That seems kind of high.
No.
No,
It's kind of a normal amount for the year?
Yeah.
it's average.
Average? Okay.
All in favor? Aye.
Motion approved 30.
I'll second that motion.
Motion by Commissioner Hall to approve the following tax claim bureau exoneration request. Brooklyn Township, parcel 183.00-1, 012.01. And the name of Brooklyn Township is Brooklyn Township is a tax exempt entity. Questions or comments? All
Does
in
that
favor?
mean all townships are tax exempt? What does that mean, tax exempt entity? Does that mean every township is tax exempt?
Yes. All in favor?
Aye.
Number 31. Alan?
Motion approved 31.
I will second that motion.
Got a motion by Commissioner Hall to adopt resolution 2020-01 to extend the terms of the exemptions, deductions, abatements, and credits under KOEZ or KOIZ between Susquehanna County and Greater Forest City Industries effective January 1st, 2021 through December 31st, 2030. Questions or comments? Yes, Bruce.
Could you please explain what COEZ stands for and KOIZ?
We've got it right on the back. We printed it out. It's in your packet there.
Can you explain it?
The Keystone Opportunity Improvement Zone. Economic opportunities stimulate industrial, commercial, and residential improvements for physical and infrastructure deterioration of the area of Susquehanna County, Commonwealth of Pennsylvania.
Thank you.
You're welcome. All in favor, say aye. Aye.
Motion to appoint 32.
Motion by Commissioner Hall to appoint Roy Williams, Susquehanna Depot, to the Susquehanna County Economic Development Board to fill the term vacated by Margaret Beaver, effective January 12, 2020 through December 31st, 2020, per the recommendation of the Commission. Questions or comments? All in favor, say aye.
It's not.
33.
Motion approved 32.
I will second that motion.
A motion by Commissioner Hall to approve the proclamation 2020-01 declaring February as American Heart Month. Seconded by Commissioner Herschel. Questions or comments? All in favor, say aye.
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 Motion approved 34.
And a motion by Commissioner Hall to ratify and approve the collective bargaining agreement between the County of Susquehanna and Teamsters Local 229 covering professional employees in the Office of Children and Youth. Seconded by Commissioner Herschel. Questions or comments? All in favor?
Are there any major changes in this contract?
You can get a copy of the contract after. Health insurance, they are paying more for their health insurance.
And a lot of language change,
Language change.
a lot of language change.
Okay. Can I have a vote? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Aye. All right, public comment.
I have a public comment. Good morning. My name is Michael Valesky. I'm Vice President, Business Agent with Teamsters Local 229 out of Gilmore, Pennsylvania. I'd like to address January 22nd comment that Commissioner Hall made on January 22nd, 2020, and I quote, Mr. Hall said, the union was contacted over the wage study, and it sat down, and the union refused to meet with the county. That is not true. Mr. Hall, could you explain to me why you said that when you know
Because
it's
I
not true?
called you and said, let's get together. And we got
The first time we talked about this, Mr. Hall, was December 18th of 2019, when we were over in the meeting room over here, and you told me that there was 4 groups making less than the wage study suggested, and it would cost the county around $550,000 to bring them up, and that the county could not do it all at once, too costly for the county. And we would discuss it more once we get into negotiations with the 4 contracts we have due in 2020.
That's not what.
That's exactly what was said.
Well, that's your opinion. You're entitled to
Well,
your
I'm
opinion.
always entitled to my opinion.
Well,
And then
that's
on February 7th was the second time we talked about it, which was last Friday. Right outside the sheriff's department when I was pulling down an interest list for having a new steward up there. At that point, we scheduled a meeting for this Friday.
That's
So
good.
that's only 2 times that we've talked about it.
We've talked more than that.
No, we have not. I can bring phone records, Mr. Hall. The only time you ever called my office was January 10th.
Well, we talked during the negotiations too on the other contract.
I
and we
have
discussed
our
it
attorney
then.
here during the negotiations of the
No,
contract.
it wasn't
and
during
I-
that, so. Again,
We
you're
were at
entitled to your
interest
opinion.
arbitration. Also, it was brought to my attention that you're telling people up here that it's the union that's holding back the wages. How could the union hold back the wages when we're in a contractual obligation that the county gives so much a year?
Again, as I said, I wanted to sit down and talk to you about the wage salary adjustments, and I'm waiting for you to set the meeting. And we talked last Friday, and then we set the meeting, so.
So
now
why would
we
you
can have
come
a
up with
meeting.
that comment?
Commissioner
that
Hall,
the
you
union's
have to say that you had no control over the union.
Right.
You answered me a couple weeks ago that response, is that true?
I have no control over them,
You
correct?
have no negotiating, that's what you indicated.
What I said was there would have been no negotiations, right, except for the contracts we negotiated.
We were up here January 15th, and it was brought to my attention that with the arbitration on January 15th for the interest arbitration for probation, after that, it was brought to my attention that you're telling members up here that I will not talk to you about that. At that point, why didn't you bring it up on January 15th in front of your attorney? I've talked to Scott Glisson multiple times, emailed him multiple times, and there has been no discussion of us meeting for the
Well,
wage
I
study.
have talked to you about it, Mike, and again, if you
Twice,
want to
Mr.
say
Hall,
that we haven't
twice.
talked, well, that's fine.
Yes.
You know, well, we're all done talking about it. I'm sorry you feel that way, but, you know, Friday we have a discussion. I guess this is the way you want to start it out and kind of the
Well, I don't
attitude
like
you
being
want
called
to.
a liar here, Mr.
Well, I
Hall.
didn't-
You're saying that we're not around the area? We're in Dunmore, Mr. Hall. It's about 40
Well,
minutes
you know,
away.
I can document several times that our office has called your office and sent emails,
Well,
and
I
it
would love
takes
to
weeks
see
to get back.
documents.
So,
Please, show me the documents, show me your phone records.
We're all done.
I make a suggestion that we,
Don't make a suggestion.
okay,
Just move on.
move on, thank you.
Well,
We-
my name is Craig Pollock, Secretary Treasurer of Local 229, and I just want to be clear, we have not refused to bargain with this county over anything. Anything. There's no refusal on our part.
I don't think
And again,
anybody said.
if you wish to present, you're claiming that you've been in touch with our office numerous times, we welcome any documentation you have to prove that point. But I just want it on record publicly here, we have never once refused to bargain over any contract in this county. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, Sam. Thank you. We missed one thing that was on the agenda, where we need to add to the agenda, and that's about the burn ban, the upcoming burn ban. So I make a motion to add it to the agenda, Resolution 2020-02, about a burn ban that will be coming into effect.
Yeah.
Can I have that?
I'll make a motion to approve it.
I will second that motion.
Questions or comments?
When will it come into effect?
It's here in your packet.
March 14th through April 12th.
All right? All in favor? Aye. Okay. Any other public comment?
I have just two small ones. And I guess this is more of just a comment after the answers about the $14.96 or $14.95 an hour. One was a transfer, which was less money than what was new hires. And then later in the document, we have another one that was a transfer that is higher. So maybe just have you guys take a look back over and see. I guess my comment is, let's make sure that the county employees that have been here the longest are the ones that are getting the penny increase. And it's not a huge
Depends on
deal,
their
but
start date and depends on when the transfer was. And that'll dictate what they're ready, what they're
Sue, I'm a supervisor in Oakland Township, and I'm concerned about what you're doing to ensure the integrity of the elections in the primary and the general election to improve the pass. Thank you.
Sandy, did you have a question earlier?
It was about the burn ban and you answered it, so I'm good.
Okay, awesome.
I'm sorry, it's just, Commissioner Hall has said 2, 3, and 4 on the salary board was union positions. And I guess I question that because some of these say no benefits. Generally, we're looking at union positions with benefits.
Now we have union positions that don't have benefits too.
Okay, thank you.
Was my question answered about the integrity of the elections, what you're doing? We had a township meeting last night, and I was told there will be no paper ballots. Why is that, and what are you doing to improve the integrity?
Well, we're going to machines, for one thing, and we're gonna go into an election board meeting next.
Okay, so I can ask it then.
All right?
Okay. So there are, even if you request a paper ballot, you cannot get
It's a
one.
provisional ballot.
So, at the election, polling places, there will only be the machines. And you'll be voting on the machines. Everybody will receive training like we did in the past for the election workers on how to use the machines to make sure everything's okay. There will be additional staff at each polling place to help the judge of elections. There will take and be provisional ballots for people that come in that are not, that don't fall into the voting category, that being able to allowed to vote. And of course, there's always the mail-in ballot. People can vote by mail-in also.
So you can't have just both, like a machine and paper? That doesn't exist?
Doesn't that machine give a receipt type thing?
The
and then-
machine
so there
prints
is a
out the
piece of
ballot.
paper?
Machine prints out the ballot goes in the box.
And if there's an error?
It can be corrected.
There's no error. I mean, it's gonna ask you, is this how you want to vote? And you're gonna say yes or no. You say yes, and that's how you vote.
Can you get it?
See how it went for
There's no paper trail.
Well, we're not Iowa.
I know, but I,
And the machines don't store the votes.
They don't store
correct?
anything.
Thank you.
Are they printed out on site?
Yes.
So they can have a copy to take home with me?
No.
Why not?
You don't take the paper ballot home with you now, do you?
Well, no, but this is a different situation.
I don't think
You
so.
don't take the ballots home.
There's no paper trail at all?
There's a paper trail. It prints out a paper ballot and goes into the election box.
So in other words, there's a way to count paper ballots if there's a challenge.
Yes,
There is a paper trail there.
yes.
Thank you.
Okay, yeah, good.
My question is, are we going, as members of the polling election place board, are we going to get full training from start to finish? Because we already know how to work the machines. The question is, last election, the machines went out of the courthouse without half of the things it needed. One of them was the poll pad was in airplane mode, so we waited for a long time to get that repaired. We came out without extension cords, we couldn't plug them in. I sent my husband home to get an extension cord to plug in the voting machine. I mean, so that's the first thing. And the second thing is, we need to have more than just the judge of elections, the minority and majority inspector, and 2 clerks. If we're gonna be strictly on machines, judge of elections cannot help out anybody at those machines. But we need people who are auxiliary and are trained and are in our district. And that should be worked on now, instead of finding out 3 days before the election that I've got no clerks and that we have no backup. And somebody should go through every single one of those machines to make sure, before they leave, that they actually work.
So to respond to that, the machines themselves are getting calibrated and tested far enough in advance so that we know that we don't have a problem. The second thing that's happened that starts next week is our maintenance department will be calling and meeting with all the judges of elections, going to the sites, measuring to make sure that we have extension cords, make sure that outlets are working properly. We've had some places where they plugged an extension cord in, the outlet was dead, so they have outlet testers to make sure everything is working. Maintenance will work with the judge of elections to make sure everything is documented as to what they need. They'll come back, all that will get put in place. The office is currently working on getting additional staff for each polling place to work for the judge of elections to take care of issues and problems if people have problems. So everything that you mentioned is being worked on today and is being done. Actually, we've just finished up this week collecting all the old units out of the polling places, and they've started delivering the new booths that go in there so that they can start meeting with the judge of elections next week and start getting that done.
So I'm assuming that we have a judge of election for Forest Lake.
My understanding is we do, and I'll double check that after the meeting. Motion to.
I want to ask about the roads also. I drove on 706 and 81 a couple of days ago at night, and it's really difficult to see potholes at night. 706 is getting worse and worse east of Montrose. What's being done so that we don't have to wait till the spring, the summer?
Well, that's gonna be worked on in April and May. We met with PennDOT yesterday, we had a meeting, and they had a great big board on the wall, and they have everything scheduled. They have it all planned out, their plan laid out. They went over which roads they're gonna be working on, and that particular stretch, they're out here, you're talking out by Tractor Supply.
Yes.
That's scheduled for April, May. Is it April,
So-
May? April, May.
And
Will
the
the road last that long?
Right, the thing is, why do they get to this place so bad that we have to then dodge the potholes or hit the potholes, damage our cars, when we supposedly have millions and billions in royalties in this county? Can you use any impact money for those roads so they can keep up? And are you getting more money from the state, as you requested months ago, to help with these roads?
Yes, we did get about $200,000 more into this county from the Secretary of Transportation before she left, which has come into this county to help with the roads.
And what's 200,000? Isn't that like a drop in the bucket?
Well, not necessarily a drop in the bucket. You can buy a lot of material for $200,000. So, but at this point, I would tell you that, you know, if you have a lot of concerns, people you should be talking to are the people that are responsible for the state roads, which is your state legislators and PennDOT.
Yes, well, I have talked to them, and the situation just continues. We have lousy roads every year.
Okay, but the county commissioners have no control over the state legislators or PennDOT. I don't know why you guys can't understand that.
I do understand it, but I want it to
Okay,
be,
then why do we keep going around and around?
well,
on
we
this?
have to make it public so people can hear this and more people can call their
I
legislators.
put it all over Facebook. If you have a
And
problem with
what-
the roads, call your state
And
legislators,
what do
call
we,
PennDOT.
and then what do we have, a new Secretary of Transportation, is that what you're saying?
An acting secretary right now.
So we can call that one too?
Absolutely.
And do you have a phone number off the top of your
I've
head?
had them on Facebook several times. I'll post them again.
Okay, it's on Facebook so people can see it. The other thing I want to mention too is that Williams Pond Road had a whole bunch of fracking going on the past several weeks. The roads were in bad shape and then they got fixed. Also now I'm hearing that people have water problems and their water has turned brown, some of them, and bad odors. What can we do for these people that we should know about and not just give it to the DEP and to Cabot Oil and Gas? That they should be helped even with the impact money with their water issues, maybe with testing or with water deliveries, and also to make known to the population who they are. Because if I live on Williams Pond Road, I want to know who's contaminated. I don't want to just hear about it like a rumor or something. We should be told what's happening. Right now, the industry keeps doing non-disclosures, silencing people, also have attorneys assigned to these
Vera,
people.
Vera,
They're all silencing
Vera,
them.
stop, please.
The whole county is
Vera.
being silenced.
Stop. We've been through this how many times?
I don't
Several
care how many times
We're
it keeps
every
happening.
year, And we go through this.
So it
All
keeps
your
happening.
issues and concerns are state and federal issues. They're not county issues. Go to the agencies that are responsible, hold the people that are responsible for those positions responsible. That's what you need to do.
We've been doing that, and they do nothing.
Then
So I'm
maybe
letting
you
the
need to get
public
different-
know, I want the
Wait a
public
minute.
to know
Maybe
what's
you need to
happening.
get different people elected then.
Well, we're trying that too,
All right.
At the county level.
at the county level, so.
It still wouldn't help you.
And then also I have a comment about assessment. I read in the paper that
3
assessment,
minutes is up. Colleen, did you have
and there
another
should not be a limit between questions on 3 minutes. This is a public meeting. We should have full access.
I hate to do this, but I in a sense, I agree with her. I know a lot of this is state issues, but when we're looking at county people that have groundwater, if this is true, and I don't know, I haven't heard any of this, I think that she may have a point, that maybe there is something that we might be able to do with the impact fees to help them get water trucked in or
Absolutely not.
something. We don't have anything we can do
We
to
do
help
not have
residents
the
that are being
responsibility
impacted.
or the authority to do anything about it. You can't just go into somebody else's business and take over their business. It's their responsibility to take care of this, not us. We can contact them like we always do. We just had meetings with PennDOT, we had meetings with the legislators about the roads and everything else, and we do that. But we do not have control over these agencies, and we cannot interject in the middle of those agencies.
Well, and I understand that, but when people don't have water,
Okay, again, I mean, I don't know how many different ways I can say it. We don't have the authority or the ability to go into other people's businesses and organizations and overtake what they're supposed to be doing.
Commissioner, it's true you don't have the authority to take things over. But it's also true that you have the political ability to be a leadership body to advocate on behalf of people who have a problem before the state agencies.
Okay, and
So that it's
again,
not just the responsibility of the individual citizen, but it has the authority of and weight of the county government, which makes a bigger impact before the state, whether it's an administrative body or a legislative body, than if just Joe Doak's common citizen shows up. You know that.
well, again, if you only hear what you want to hear, what I said was, we do advocate, we meet with all these agencies, we do advocate for the people. So, to respond to your comment, I did say that, we do meet, we've met with PennDOT, we've met with the legislators, I've met with DEP, we are advocating for the people in this county. But as far as going in and taking over, we can't do that.
Commissioner, you've said 2 different things. You've said that it's not my responsibility, and now you've turned around and said that you do advocate.
Well, I
Which
said
is
it's
your
not,
response?
well, my response is, it's not our responsibility, but we still do advocate, like I've said.
As
Now,
an
listen, I
elected-
didn't realize you're all here to poke at me, and that's what we're doing nowadays, is just trying to poke at the commissioners.
That's not true.
Yeah, that is true. So, I've told you what's going on. I've told you that we meet with the agencies. I told you it's not our responsibility, but we still do advocate. And we do what we can.
Commissioner, I'd like to point out that we treat you with respect, and perhaps if you would lower your tone and treat us with respect.
Well, I do
Yes.
respect that this is how I speak.
Yeah, and you don't have to take
You
it
speak with
personal.
disrespect.
You don't have to take it personal.
I'm not taking it personal. But when you come, Vera, at the same thing every other meeting you come to.
It's
and
not
you-
true.
And you stab about the same issue over and over again.
And why do
then
you
it's a
feel
problem.
why do you feel stabbed? You're taking it personal, and just be relaxed about it and listen to your constituents. It's very simple.
I am listening to my constituents.
I'd like to revisit something that was spoken about a little while ago by this gentleman in front of me about a paper trail. We did have a paper trail. We had the bottom of the ballot. I know this is beyond any of the commissioners, but things tend to go wrong when they get stored in machines, and people who go through stuff can. I'm talking about the election. I'm talking about everything that's electronic, and there's no trail except what's in that machine. You can't do anything about it, but I just, no, it couldn't happen here. It happened in Florida, happened in Georgia, happened all over.
I understand. Thank you, Bruce, for your comment. Can I get a motion to close this commissioners'
Motion
meeting?
closed.
I'll second that motion.
Commissioners' meeting is closed at 9:55 a.m. Thank you for coming. We do have an election board. We'll start in about 5 minutes.
The election, I mean, they're gonna bring it in there. You stay here.
And we're going to start our election board meeting at 10:01. We're going to call this meeting to order. I have something I'd like to read to you to try to clear some stuff up. And then I'm going to turn the meeting over to our previous election board. And then Commissioner Herschel and I will finish out the meeting. So good morning again. Before we get into the election board meeting, I would like to take this opportunity to explain some actions that have been taken. I know we can all agree that there has been issues last year with the election process and more specifically with the election board. The current commissioners have done an investigation on the election cycle of 2019. We know there were issues at polling places as well as at the election board meeting, advertisements, and minutes. First, the election process. We know that there was an issue with the poll pads and training. We have established new protocols for testing and certification of the equipment. Of course, this testing does follow the state and federal requirements and being done earlier in the process to ensure that no issues will exist. Training will be a major focus this year, which will include handouts and booklets for the poll workers. We will also have an updated document in each polling place to outline not only the procedures, but also what to do if there is failure in the process. We are also working to have in place high school seniors that will be trained and sworn in to assist the judge of elections at each polling place. Training, of course, will be the big focus. For the election board, the first issue was meeting times and advertising. We realized that last year there was a lot of confusion with the way meetings were advertised and called. We'll tell you that moving forward, the meetings will normally follow the commissioners' meetings, just like today. Meeting is advertised. If in the event we need a special meeting, we will make sure that it's advertised in the local papers and that proper notice is given. The second issue of the election board is the process of recording the minutes during the meetings, following the proper protocol. As I say here today, I can assure you that the current Commissioners' Election Office and Election Board of 2019 apologize for the way the documentation was handled. Yes, minutes did not get documented in a reasonable time and errors were made in the documentation process. The process moving forward will require the Chief Clerk to prepare the agendas and take the minutes of the meetings. Once the meeting is done, the Chief Clerk will prepare the minutes and they will be reviewed by the board and the director to ensure accuracy. The minutes will then be approved in the next meeting. In addition, the video of the meeting will be posted separately. After our investigation, we determined that 3 different meetings throughout 2019, the minutes were never approved. That is being done today. We've also discovered that there were clerical errors in the recording of the minutes that were approved. Today's meeting will address those errors and properly document what took place in those meetings. Concern has been raised about the integrity of the minutes that were previously approved. Those meeting minutes are cast in stone and will not be changed. Rather, we will document today what actually took place in those meetings, and a copy of today's minutes will be attached to those records. As for the investigation that included the current commissioners, the election board of 2019, the election office personnel, and other personnel, we have taken the necessary steps to ensure this does not happen again by putting procedures in place and addressing personnel issues. As we move forward with the 2020 election, we are confident that the attention to detail and the focus on the process will result in a smooth election solution. Thank you. I'm going to turn the meeting over to you.
Okay, I'll entertain a motion to approve item number 1 on the agenda.
I make a motion to approve item number 1.
I have a motion and a second. Any questions or comments? All in favor signify by saying aye. Opposed, the same. The motion carries. Motion to approve, I'll entertain a motion to approve item number 2. A motion and a second.
I second that.
Any questions or comments? All in favor signify by saying aye. Opposed, the same. The motion is carried. I will entertain a motion to approve item number 3. May I hear a second?
I second.
We have a motion and a second. Any questions or comments? All in favor signify by saying aye.
I just want to ask, is the
Motion
public
carried.
able to make comments? When he says any comments or anything, the way he's addressing just you, your group, does that include the public?
Yes.
That includes you.
Yes.
It does, okay, because the way he's saying it, he's just looking at you, he's not looking at us, and not saying that we can speak also. I just wanted to reiterate that. Not right now, but I wanted to make sure we can comment.
Okay, thank you.
So I think we completed item number 3, didn't we?
I'm sure all in favor.
Oh, okay. All in favor signify by saying aye. Opposed, the same. Motion carries. I'll entertain a motion to approve item 4.
I motion to approve item number 4.
Have a motion and a second. Any questions or comments?
And first of all, you're approving motions, and you're not even reading them. They're not even being read to the public, so it can be on tape and people can hear it. What kind of a motion
You're
is
approving
this?
the minutes.
So there's a whole bunch of material here, and none of it is being read. He's just glossing over it, making it nice and quick and easy. You read everything before. Why isn't it all being read?
Well, it doesn't have to be. I read it because you brought that to my attention a long time ago, that you wish the commissioners would do that.
Yeah, well, I'm bringing it now to Mr. Cater,
Cater.
now I'm bringing it to Mr. Caterson's attention. Please read everything for the public.
Okay.
So number 5, please.
Okay, I'm going to rephrase that. I need a motion to approve item number 5, which would be approval of the minutes of the July 3rd, 2019 election board meeting. Is there a second?
Nancy abstained. I was told you.
Oh, that was the motion.
To abstain, okay.
So I'll make the motion to approve the minutes of the July 3rd, 2019.
And I will make this.
He motioned it, you're seconding it.
Oh, you made the motion? I thought he
I
was
was
just reading
entertaining.
it.
Oh, I'm sorry, okay, I'm sorry.
Sorry, I'm just following the same.
You did, okay.
So a motion from Sarah, I'll second the motion.
Okay.
Any abstentions?
Okay.
Uh, Any questions or comments? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The same. The motion is carried. I'll entertain a motion to approve item 6, which will revise the actions of the election board meeting of 9/17/19. Item H, to properly document what actually took place in the meeting as follows.
I'll make the motion.
Any questions or comments? All in favor signify by saying aye. Opposed, the same. The motion is carried. I'll entertain a motion to approve item number 7, which revises the actions of the election board meeting of 11/8/2019, items I and J, to properly document what actually took place in the meeting as follows. Second?
I'll second
Have a motion and a second. All in favor signify by saying aye. Opposed, the same. Motion carries.
Question, comment?
I'm sorry, questions or comments? Motion carries. Motion to approve item number 8, which revises the actions of the election board meeting of 12/4/19, items K, L, and M, and properly document what actually took place in the meeting as follows. All in favor, motion please.
I'll make a motion to approve item number 8.
Second. Questions or comments? All in favor signify by saying aye. Opposed, the same. The motion carries. Wait that in for
Number 9, I make a motion to approve the minutes of the January 22nd election board meeting.
I'll second that motion.
Questions or comments? All in favor? Aye. I make a motion to rescind the following motion of the January 22nd, 2020 Election Board meeting, items N, due to no votes were taken at the meeting. Questions or comments? All in favor? You second it? Okay, all in favor? Aye. Number 11, I make a motion to rescind the motion of 1/22/2020 Election Board meeting. Item O is the motion and second were not done by sitting board members.
Oh, I will second that motion.
Questions or comments? All in favor? Aye. Number 12, I make a motion to rescind the motion of the January 22nd, 2019 Election Board meeting, as the motion was never voted on.
I will second that motion.
Questions or comments? All in favor? Aye. I make a motion to adjourn the, public comment. Yes.
First of all, who redid these minutes?
We all, it was a collaboration that we took their notes that they had, and we sat down and we discussed it and read the notes and we put together.
Are the notes available to the public?
No.
Interesting.
We might have to discuss that with our solicitor.
Excuse me?
We'll have to discuss that with our solicitor.
You know, every time.
Wait a minute, notes from a public meeting have to go through the attorney. How much are we paying the attorney to review something that's public record?
38,000.
Well,
Not enough.
I agree. That's starting rate wage that we're paying.
I have another question. How do we even know the meetings occurred?
I mean, if you take a look at the claptrap
If
that was
everyone's
given
told what these notes
before,
were.
they would know, the public would know, that this was a farce. This was a joke. Then to go back in and redo this, how much were these extra board members paid to do this? Was it a volunteer effort? Because I don't think so. And by the way, the other question I have is, where is Mr. Hall?
Mr. Hall is currently a delegate and running for a campaign, so he is not serving on the election board.
He has to serve on the board because the delegate is a party function, not a public function. So he should be here. Never mind that he excuses, recuses, I don't care what, he belongs here. He has no right to be on the commissioner's board and a member of the election board and say, I'm going to remove myself from the election board. Who's going to take his place? That's first. Second of all, why would I pay for that position twice? And the recusal from that board because he's running, that is a party position. That is not a public position, not a commissioner's position. So he does not have the right to recuse himself from that. I don't care what you say. Check the codes, go upstairs and check the law library upstairs in case nobody knows, and go into the election law and you will find that. You could check the election day digest and find it in there. So that's a baloney story. We're not that, you know what, we're not that stupid. That's what I'm trying to say. This community is not that stupid. You've pulled the wool over our eyes with these dopey minutes that a 5-year-old could figure out were just garbage. You sat there and you collected money for jobs you never did.
Okay.
And now we're being told this.
Calm down, Linda, please calm down. Sue?
I asked this question during the commissioners meeting, but perhaps it should really be addressed to the people on this committee. What are you doing to secure the integrity of the elections? I believe last time there were contested ballots that were not really secured. I was told, and this is just secondhand, that they were in a room where there was a bake sale going on and people were able to go in and out where these ballots were supposed to be secured. I also believe we should have I understand it's going to print out your ballot or the way that you vote on these machines, but I do believe that people should have the opportunity to have a paper ballot. I've been told that the governor doesn't agree with that, but I think, I know I'm an older person, I know how to use a computer, I'm not really an expert at it, but I'm sure I can use a voting machine. I did choose to use a paper ballot last time. I live in Oakland Township. We had one person at one point in Oakland Township, in charge there. She told me someone else was supposed to be in charge previous to hers. That person got sick. She had never been trained on the machines. So, I'm reading and listening to national news. I don't care what the commissioner said, that it won't happen in Pennsylvania. Alone, tell me what you're doing.
You can do a mail-in ballot, so
I understand that, I understand.
you get the paper ballot and do the mail-in.
I understand. What are the contested ballots going, or will there be any, when they're all machine generated? Will they be protected?
Everything will be protected. I can assure you that everything will be protected.
What do you mean by contested ballots? I guess that's where we need to
Well,
start.
ballots that a committee had to decide were, able to be counted.
Talking about the provisionals.
The provisionals, like, yes.
Provisionals. So,
Provisionals are done. The election office investigates what is on the outside of the envelope. It is up to the board on return board day, the Friday following, to decide how they are going to be counted, if they are going to be counted, if there's grounds for them to be counted.
and it's the responsibility of the local election board that's out there to make sure that they keep those secure. That they're not just out on tables or floating around or, doing any of that. So it is the election board that's out there, they take an oath in the morning, they understand that that's part of their responsibility while they're out there to help, keep those secure and that's what they should
Well,
be doing.
when I ran for township supervisor, I received a letter that said, it appears that you were, elected. I had no one running against me. Then after that, I got another letter saying, you have been elected as township supervisor. How could I get a letter saying, it appears, when I had no one running against me? It makes no sense to me. What was the reason for that?
Were you on the ballot?
Yes, I was at the ballot. And then there were other things that then I was fined, et cetera, et cetera. I hope all of this has been cleared up because it really did not give me faith in the democratic process. Thank you.
I'd like to, election board question. I don't know that it comes up in these minutes. As you know, at the time of the primary, Judy's nominating petition was challenged and we had to go to court. The court ruled that the petition was done properly and she was restored to the family. Sometime later, I read in the Susquehanna Independent.
They want you to speak.
Sometime later, I read in the Susquehanna Independent that an investigation had been carried out by your board, by you, and that you determined that the court had acted in error, and that in fact they were wrong. She shouldn't have been restored to power. I'm curious about where that investigation was documented, when it took place. We were never contacted. I was a witness at the court case. I was never contacted. No one in Judy's campaign was ever contacted.
Okay, so
And I'm just curious as to why you would make such a decision and how that investigation was carried out and by whom. And if you were right, why wasn't it referred to the DA?
So to speak on what's published in the Independent, that's not something that we can speak on. If you
I'm not asking you to do that. I'm just
But
wondering
that
if that
only-
story is accurate.
The only part of the investigation that we would have done would be that we had gotten the complaint, we reviewed the complaint as far as what needed to be done with it, and that's why it would have gotten forwarded on to the court, because that's not a decision that we as the election board could have sat there and made. That was a legal decision.
No, you're missing my point.
We
You're
never
missing
came
my
back
point.
and.
Was there an investigation, as the newspaper said there was?
That's what I'm telling you, is the investigation would have been the review of it, so we could see what the complaint was, to see if it was in fact something that we could take care of, but it was not. That's why it was forwarded to the court. There was not
No, I'm
another,
sorry.
there was
You're getting it
not
wrong.
another investigation
There was
that
no,
happened
there was no
after that.
secondary, there was no secondary
There was
investigation.
no-
All right. In
yeah.
other words, the newspaper had a false story.
I can't
I
speak,
can't
I can't
speak
speak.
No,
on
no,
that.
but the point is, that this newspaper.
The editor's right
But
here.
I'm not interested in the editor right now. I'm interested only in the commission and the Board of Elections. It was publicly reported that subsequent to the trial, which Judy and the other candidates won, the Elections Board carried out an investigation and determined that the results of the trial were false. Am I right in understanding you to say that that's false? No such inquiry took place. subsequent to the trial.
We did not conduct another investigation on that specific complaint.
In other words, what I'm saying is correct.
After, yes.
And
we
the
did-
newspaper
well,
is wrong.
I don't know what's in the newspaper.
I
so
understand
I
that.
cannot say if it
I'm not
was right
asking
or
you
wrong.
to speak for the newspaper.
Okay, so I'm speaking for the election board, that a second investigation to that complaint did not take place.
Thank you.
If there
That
are
was
any
my question.
secondary complaints, then that would have been investigated, but after that, what was decided in the court is what was decided, and that's how it carried on.
Fantastic.
And I'm just gonna
And
have
the other
to
thing I
address
wish-
that that's an
The other
inaccurate
point
reflection
the other
of the
point I wish to
story.
make is that the wording that Sue has just spoken about, it appears that you have been elected, is precisely the wording that is inscribed on the certificate furnished to the winning candidates. But the law says that your task is to certify that they have been elected, to make a decision. To say it appears is to render an opinion, not making a decision.
Jacob, we'll have to look at that. I wasn't
You
aware of that,
should-
and we
you
will
should
look
look
into
at
that.
that.
Thank you for bringing it to our attention, and we'll look into that.
I'd just like to speak to that. I found my election certificate from 1991, and it says appears.
Oh, it
Even
does.
in 1991.
Well, there you go. So
So
we'll,
like you've never changed it in 20 years.
all right, well, we'll have to look into that and check on that. All right, thank you for bringing that to our attention.
I certainly can understand why it would say it appears, because there could be a write-in vote that would overwhelm the personal. There could be. I didn't say there was,
There wasn't.
but, you know, it has happened. So just because you were the only name on the ballot doesn't mean you won.
No, but the point is that the certificate is supposed to determine who won. The certificate says it appears. That's not a determination.
No.
And I think the
But
board
then later
decided
she
that
got
we're gonna look
the
into that.
thing that said she was elected.
Easy fix,
An
yes.
easy fix.
All right. All right, can I get a motion to close the meeting?
No.
No. Okay.
I have a question.
Yes.
When you consult with the attorney to ask the attorney whether the public could see the original minutes, which we already have because we had to go through right to know law, will they be cast in stone or just this?
I'll have to discuss that with
No,
Wayne.
no, as you read in the letter, the ones that are in stone will stay, and these will go with it to show what had been original, and then what was.
So you will have the fiasco on page 1 and the remedy on page 2.
Correct.
Everything will be in the book.
Correct.
Yeah. Edna?
Did you see them?
How many people
Okay.
involved in this redo were paid to do it?
We weren't paid to do our revisions. We covered this. No, it was us.
Already on
It was us. Colleen?
Just a question on, like, when you guys do these, and I have no idea about it, I'm kind of new to all of this, so bear with me if I sound stupid. When you do these, I'm assuming that when you guys are running for election, you can't be a part of the boards, which you normally are.
That's right.
When you can't do that, is there some kind of a training that they should have gone through maybe to make sure that these motions and minutes should have been, you know, properly addressed?
It's a really good question. I don't believe there is a training, is there? No.
Can we address that so
Yes,
that it
we
doesn't
will.
happen again and there'll be some kind of training so everybody?
It's a great idea.
It has been.
Yeah. Yes, Vera?
Yes, I would just like a clarification and a reiteration of why Alan isn't here. Am I understanding correctly that he went to a meeting as a delegate for the Republican Party?
No.
What's this delegate thing?
He's running on the ballot, so he's not going to be on the election board, so he.
There is no reason for him not to be on that board. And you can take that up with your solicitor, and if he has a problem, he can look here. I'll volunteer to lend this to you, you can't have it. And there's 2 volumes upstairs on election law. You're free to go. We paid for it already. They're up there.
Thank you,
This
Edna.
is it. This is a complete. This is malpractice. This is absolutely what a display of ineptitude on every single person that sits up there, and that includes you.
All right, can we get there's a new edition of those books, by the way, Macy wanted you to know.
Are we able to find out who the people were that made the complaints about our petition, the whistleblowers, so to speak?
Never sure know.
Pardon me? Well, anyway, can we get the names of the people that complained about our petitions and then we had to pay fines. I would not be able to be seated by Oakland Township unless I paid my fines about my petitions. I would like to know who lodged the complaints against us. Can we
We'll have to
find
get
that
back to you on
out?
that. I'll get back to you on that. We'll look into that.
Okay, thank you.
One more question. There's a new edition of this?
Yes.
Well,
On its way.
my suggestion, because I know it's not going to be taken up, but I'm going to make it anyway. Every single voting board should get a copy, every single member, before you come for training and before you sit on that board. Because this is the Bible, as far as I'm concerned, with what goes on there. And I also say that members of the voter registrar, assistant registrar, read it before you send it out to us. Because there are so many things in here that I had problems with. That was when we had paper ballots. And I don't know what's going to happen with the machine ballots, but I think everybody who's involved in the voting process should have this information. And by the way, since we paid for it, the public should have it too.
We have ordered enough to replace for every member of the boards at all polling locations, enough for all of us in office to have copies, and enough for copies to the public if they request them.
Right, but they need to be presented to us before the election takes place so that we can digest these. I think there's 38 pages of information and have it beforehand.
Okay.
You did have a
All right.
picture of it for the camera.
Thank you, Edna. We'll take that all under consideration.
I'm sorry, I just have one more question. When you're talking about the polling boards and the training at the facilities for the machines themselves, I remember when I went in, of course, I didn't go before and get any of the training at the Hartford Fair or wherever they were allowed, because there's probably going to be other people that were like me and just walk in. Is there going to be a machine set up so that somebody can walk them through the whole thing? Because when I sat down, she started to, go over how it was done with me. But I was a little bit surprised about the way some of the questions popped up, and I did end up having to go back because I thought it was wrong. And it didn't turn out to be wrong, but it was kind of confusing even for me. So I'm thinking an elderly is going to need to go through the whole process before she can actually sit down at the machine and fill it out and feel confident with it.
Okay. Well, just so you know, we are going to have them at the Hartford Fair again this year in the Republican and Democratic booth. And we're also going to have them at Ag Day. If any of you go to Ag Day, like 600 people go through Ag Day. And we're going to have a table. Macy's going to be down there with a table and a machine set up. And we're going to have them in the libraries this summer. So we're going to have them out there in the public as much as we can to get people acquainted and comfortable with them.
Yeah.
And it's always here in the office. She's got one set up in here, so you can come right in here and she can show you. Okay? All right. May I get a motion to close the meeting now?
I'll make a motion to close the meeting.
I'll second that motion.
27.
All in favor? Aye. Thank you for coming, everyone.
Hey, Jack.
I still didn't even answer my question. How much will they pay?
You didn't do it.
I didn't either.